how to achieve work-life balance. They see people that are high performing, that are very skewed towards work. And they also see some people who have seemingly like that amazing lifestyle where they can travel, live as a digital nomad. But it seems like, what are they doing to make money? How are they getting their work part in order? And the reason why I chose the icon of the unicorn was because it seems like this elusive thing that we're all trying to achieve and get to some state in our life. But is it possible, or is it some figment of our imagination? And I want to challenge this thought. So I just want to ask all of you, and I'm joined today by a bunch of Future Pro members for a live recording of this, so you may hear their voices. So what do you guys think? Is it possible to achieve work-life balance?
I certainly hope so.
Do you think that it's possible? Is it within your grasp and your reach?
I want to live that, yes.
And Gio, where are you calling in from today?
I'm from Mexico, man.
Okay. Do people there have a good work-life balance?
No, I don't know anybody that have that unicorn status.
Okay, so you don't know anybody at all?
No.
Okay.
Only on social media and all this. My Valley, the future people. Yeah.
All the fake people, right? Including the future people.
No.
I get it. Well, see, here's the thing. I'm going to take a poll here of the people who are watching this live with us. The question for you is, do you know anybody that's achieved perfect work-life balance in your real life that you can verify, not from afar? Because you know how it is, Gio. You watch people on Instagram, on YouTube, they present to you the best parts of their life, and they don't show you the dark side, the downside, right? So I just want to throw it out to you. Do you currently, anybody, you can show me by raise of your hand, like I have achieved perfect work-life balance. Paul has, okay. Let's see here, Tom, have you raised your hand for that, Tom? Young Tom just turned 19 years old. He's already achieved work-life balance. This is amazing. He's way ahead of all of us. We should just all throw ourselves off a bridge right now. Okay. And Keshna, she's achieved it. And then Michael has also achieved it. Okay. So
not me, but I know someone that has.
Oh, you know someone that has. Perfect. Okay. And Keshna, I want to talk to you specifically right now. You said you know someone who has. Is it a lot of people that have, or just like one person?
It's one person, and she has different team members within her company. And she figured out how to sell like business information. And she figured out also how to get money through like affiliate marketing and all these different selling courses.
Okay, we'll circle back to that in a second. Before we do that, I have to do something. I have to take off my jacket because it's freaking hot in the studio, you guys. Hold on, I'll be right back. Look at this, I'm already sweating. Okay, so if I start glistening, you guys know it's because it's hot in here and I have to do this conversation or this whiteboard session. Okay, so Kesha knows someone who sells information, affiliate marketing. The interesting thing is when I asked you, do you know someone who's achieved work-life balance? We didn't even go through and define what that means.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up to each and every one of you to figure out what work-life balance is. So Kesha, back to you. What criteria were you using to determine this?
Well, the criteria that I was using was, I don't know, I guess seeing how much time she has on her hands.
Like free time?
Yeah, free time versus how much time she actually works.
How much free time does she have? How much money is she making? Or what kind of life is she living? Can you put it into like little bullet points for me so I can just write it down? We had to look at a number of criteria to determine this person has optimum work-life balance. So let's just talk about free time, right? So we're going to say, because the word work and life are in here, there's a ratio here that you think are optimal. The average American theoretically works 40 hours a week. So in your mind, how many hours should somebody be working to achieve optimal work-life balance?
30.
Okay, so somebody can work 30 hours. A lot of us can work 30 hours. So there has to be one other criteria involved in here. How much money do they need to make?
For me, Chris, it's relative to the person.
Yes, it is.
It depends on people's lifestyles and the situation they're in their own life. As well, for me, if I was assessing this, I'd be thinking, well, when I wake up in the morning, I'm not thinking, oh, I've got to go to work today. I enjoy doing my job. So that is sort of life in a way for me. That's sort of, I suppose, how I feel I'm in that good position.
That's perfect. So Michael is saying that you have to be able to love this work, because if you work 30 hours a week and make a ton of money, but you hate the work, we don't think that is work-life balance, right? So that was a great ad there. We're still missing one more component at least in terms of figuring this equation out. 30 hours a week, how much money do you need to make in order to feel like that's a good thing? Because you could love your job, will only work 30 hours a week or even less, but not make enough money, so things are going to be out of balance again. What would you guys say? What's the numbers? Just throw out a number, anybody. Ricky says 100,000. Anybody else? Going once?
170,000.
170 is so precise now, Keshna. Thank you very much. Do I have another bidder? 170 going once?
300,000.
300,000. Who's saying that?
Danae.
Oh my God. All right. 300. Okay. So let's just do this really quickly. By a show of hands, if you could work 30 hours a week doing something that filled you with purpose and joy, and you earn $300,000 annually, would that feel like you're getting really close to work-life balance? Raise your hand. Okay, a bunch of hands went up. Oh my God, there's some ballers in this room because Muhammad's like, no, it's not enough for me. I need more. If you can only work 30 hours a week, Muhammad, and make $300,000, you're like, that's not enough? Talk to me.
Oh no, I thought that, we just stop at that and, not consider earning more. So we should aim for higher, I feel.
Okay. He wants more. You could say I want more. It's totally okay. All right.
I would rather work less and make less.
Work less, make less. Okay. Thank you, Paul, for that ad. Okay. I'm going to put a number on the board because that's how this game works, right? So we're going to say earning 300,000. So people watching this later are going to freak the F out. I'm just letting you know. Send your lovely emails to Muhammad, not to me. I didn't say this number. He wants more. And Paul is saying, you know what? I would rather work less and make less. But this is a dream scenario because we're chasing a unicorn, Paul. Can I make the assumption if you do work that you love and work less, but actually make more, wouldn't that be the ideal scenario? I think that's the dream. That's the goal, and that's what we should do. We should aspire always to do the work that we love first. That's a condition of a work-life balance. And then we should aspire to then work less while making more, maximize our earning potential so that we have what I think of the whole point of all of this stuff, have the maximum amount of free time to do whatever it is that you want. Play baseball, exercise, not exercise, binge watch, hang out with the kids, have no kids, travel the world, stay in your room. It doesn't matter, but you want freedom. So we want to work less. I think that's the dream. While this is the trick, earning more. Perfect. We can all work less and make less. And so then we start to feel that that's out of balance because our life needs more and we're not there. Okay. Now, having said this, is anybody here working less than 30 hours while earning more than 300,000? Go ahead and raise your hand. I'm going to be very patient here. Okay, Danae, okay. Did you say 170, Danae? Was that you?
No, I said 300,000.
Oh, you said 300. You're the 300 girl. Okay. Okay. Anybody here really close to getting to that? Still silent. Maybe we're in the right place at the right time then. Who knows? All right, let's keep getting into this. All right, so we have some criteria now. Who was it? It was Keshna. Keshna, is your friend earning more than $300,000 working less than 30 hours a week?
Yes.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. You guys know I'm a comic books fan. And there's a character. His name is Jamie Madrox. He's the, multiple man? All you have to do is hit his head and he duplicates himself. So Jamie sends his clones out to do things for him. And as a kid, that was my fantasy. Just duplicate myself. Hey, you do the chores. You go and help dad. You mow the lawn. And I'm going to sit here and play video games. You do my homework. It's all going to work out perfectly. Now, in real life, is it possible for us to duplicate ourselves, to multiply ourselves? What do you think? Anybody have an idea on this? That's you times infinity. Is it possible?
Delegate the job.
Delegate the job. Yes, but if you didn't have other people to help you. That's a good answer, though, by the way. Thank you very much. He said delegate. Is it possible to duplicate yourself? No, not really, right? Or maybe.
I think if you put out courses, if you duplicate your knowledge and then resell it.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. So we can't be at two places at one time, but if somehow we can replicate ourselves, if we can replicate ourselves in some fashion, it won't be the same, but some version of ourselves can go and work for us. And the simplest way of doing that is, for example, if you were to take a photograph and it was an amazing photograph that a whole lot of people wanted to buy, you can sell that photograph and not have to be there to take it time and time again. So in a way, you're duplicating your efforts and your energy, and the byproduct of the things that you make, the things that you know, can be used to earn money for you. This is where we get into like the passive income land. If you use the money that you've acquired over time and put it into an investment property, whether it be cryptocurrency, real estate, or some other commodities, you can then use that money to work for you if you invest wisely. There's always downside to that. So we're always looking for an investment that has high upside potential while minimizing downside potential. That makes sense, right? Okay. This is not a conversation about how to do that just yet, but I want you to start thinking about it. So that was a great conversation. Thank you very much for participating with me there. Okay. Let's get back to the subject at hand here when we're talking about work-life balance. The reason why this is so problematic is, first of all, we have 24 hours in a day. So let's just do some math together. Let's just say, as recommended by many doctors, at minimum, you need 8 hours of sleep. So we're going to take the 24, we're going to minus 8 hours, right? So that's for sleeping. Now, I know many of you, including myself, do not get 8 hours of sleep. So in an ideal world, we're going to say this is ideally, okay? 8 hours of sleep. You got to eat lunch. So we're going to minus an hour for lunch. And you're going to eat dinner. Dinner's going to take a little bit longer than lunch. And theoretically, you're going to work for 8 hours. That's a standard work week. Hopefully, I don't go over my hours allotted here. And you have to commute to work. Let's say that takes you an hour to commute. Like you take the train or you drive into work or whatever. So we're going to say that's round trip because I don't want to get too complicated here. You have to get ready for work. You got to shower, shave, put your face on. Let's take off another hour there for prep. So far, we have no leisure time. We're eating, we're going to work, we're sleeping. So let's count up the numbers here. That work and sleep is already taking up 16 hours, 18, 19, 20, 21. So we only have 3 hours of quote unquote free time. That's not a lot of time in the day. Am I missing something? Is something glaringly like missing here from anybody? Okay. Now, if we have relationships, if we waste a little bit of time, we're done for. Okay. So we have 3 hours of free time. Is that enough to get done what you need to get done in life? To work out, to cook dinner, to spend some quality time with your partner, with your spouse, with your children, with your pets, to do your chores? Not enough time. So what happens is these two concepts, for it to remain balanced, are in opposition with one another. They're opposing one another. There's a little talk with Simon Sinek. When somebody asks him about work-life balance, he goes, I don't like this idea. I don't even like that term, work-life balance, because he says you have to then choose which one you want. You want to work or you want to live more? What is the deal? And he says these two things have to live in harmony. And our ability to fluidly move between work and life is where the secret sauce is. Now, I heard someone else say this, where they said, what happens if you just get rid of work? Just live. Like if you take a sabbatical or a couple of years off, what do you discover? Well, you're going to find out really quickly you're running out of money. And I also have heard this before. I don't have this validated just yet, but people who retire from work, who no longer show up, who no longer have a purpose, a utility in life, their lifespan shortens a lot. And I believe that's why, I think it's in Okinawa, there's no such concept as retiring. Whatever it is that you do until you can't do it anymore. And they're some of the most long-lived people on planet Earth. They're in the blue zone. So there's something idea about this, and we'll dig into a little bit deeper. Also, like, can your life impact your work? What if you got into a big fight or you're going through a divorce? Is that going to impact this? So these are not necessarily separate concepts, but we have to have a different view of this. But this is kind of how most people talk about an ideal work life. And we can see even in this ideal thing where it's this or that, or if we take more time for work, we're taking away from something. That's part of the zero-sum concept, right? If we take 1 extra hour here, plus 1 hour, we then lose 1 hour over here. And what are we going to do? What most of us do We take it from here, which is not healthy. And so we keep stealing from here so that we can pay for spending more time with our life or spending more time at work. And I think most people have experienced something like this. Now, just out of curiosity too, how many of you guys are getting a solid 8 hours of sleep every single night? Raise your hand. Who's saying that? Ricky? Yeah, of course, Ricky. Ricky goes to bed at 7 p.m. Only Arlie? Who else? Yeah, not all. 2 other people have raised their hand. Okay, lower your hand. So that means that I presume you're not getting more than 8 hours, you're getting less than 8 hours, right? So we're stealing from something, and this is going to affect our long-term health and I think our mood. So these ideas oppose each other. It's forcing us to choose, should I do more of this or more of that? And sometimes we feel like we have no choice, so we're going to work. Some of you are in a position where you're the primary breadwinner, the primary income source. And so this idea can't even be entertained because we have to focus on this. And what we're doing right now, as many of us are, we're working more while not making more, especially in some markets and some industries. There's a lot of downward pressure, and the labor force is really getting bigger and bigger and more interconnected with marketplaces, that then it becomes even more challenging to earn a decent living doing what it is that you do. All right. So I'm going to ask this question of you. Why do we work? What is it that we get from work? Like, why not just live our life and forget about work? The obvious answers are usually the best. Now you can unmute and say whatever you want, and I'll be your note taker. Why do we work? Somebody tell me.
To fulfill a purpose.
Okay.
Give us options.
Options. When you say
Make an
options, what
impact.
does that mean, Paul?
Well, when you make enough money, you get more options.
Okay, like freedom, choices? Yeah. Like, well, how would you use your freedom if you had more of it?
More time with family.
Okay. Family time?
Grow our career and reputation.
Okay.
We work to be of service.
Okay, of service.
Impact.
Oh, okay. Is that about legacy too?
Yeah, probably. It's
Okay.
like how the world is and how you want the world to be, the change that we want to make.
Yes.
So it's definitely legacy.
Yes. Anything else?
Experiences.
Oh, experiences. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Money.
Yeah, that's kind of obvious, isn't it? I'm surprised it took us this long to say the big M word.
Money.
Money. Everybody else is working just for fun, for experience, for the
Yeah,
resume.
same.
Yeah, you got to make some of that cheddar for money.
Because it's fun.
What sick individual said that? What is your name? And I'll send you some work. No, just messing around with you, Hafid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people have fun at work. I don't know who those people are, but yeah. Okay, some people have fun. I imagine if you're a professional sports player, Ricky, if you were an MLB player, you'd be like, yeah, it's pretty good, until you have to win the game. Then it's not fun anymore. Yeah, until it's all on you. I think Tom had said earlier purpose and fulfillment, so we'll write fulfillment up here. Now, if you had more freedom, you might choose to travel, right? So you want to spend more time with family, and these are not mutually exclusive, so you can spend more family time traveling, which would be awesome. Some of us go to work because we want more things. We want a bigger house have more space to put more things in that house. There's a comedy routine here that I'm aware of, but so we want things. Anything else?
Yeah, to prove Maslow was correct.
Okay. Is that Ian? Prove Maslow. Yes. So we'll write Maslow here. I'm running out of space on my whiteboard. Maslow. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's how we're wired. We need something to do.
We do?
I think so.
Paul, if you travel around the equator, the attitude there is a little bit different. Right along the equator, just enjoy life. We don't really need to. We do just enough work to make it work, but not more than that. But you're saying we're hardwired, right? We're hardwired. We need it.
And I guess it ties back into purpose, I think.
Yeah, I think so. We're not just working because we want to work. We want to work because we want to make it count.
To help others solve their problems.
Perfect. If you have freedom, maybe you choose to help other people.
To save for retirement?
Yes. Retirement. Okay, perfect. Some people work so that they can give their kids a head start, right? It's true. So I'm going to do that for legacy right there. I'll put that under legacy. To give your children a leg up, to send them to better schools, to be able to have enough money to invest in their first business. How would that feel like if you were just 21 years old or 22 years old, graduating college, and then you say to your parents, I have this idea. I'm going to connect people. They're going to talk and they're going to share it. It's kind of like this, like a photo album, and your parents had money to invest in you and you were able to launch that. That would be really cool. All right. I think this is pretty good. I don't think we're missing anything. Now, just out of curiosity, if you can only pick one of these things as to the main reason why you work, what would you say it is? Anybody want to say it?
Money.
Okay.
Money.
Thank you for keeping it real. Money. Okay.
Options.
Okay. So money affords you the options, right?
Right.
Right. So we can't work for options. We work for money to then theoretically have options. And this is a critical idea because if you make the money and you don't use it for what it's meant to do, which is to provide you options, then you've missed the entire point. If you make money and you don't use it to get help so that you can spend more time doing the things that no one else can do, then you're not using your money well. So I think this is probably tied to that. What else? Why else would you work? What's the number 2 answer then?
Things.
Things? Okay. If you make money, you can get things. So that's kind of under the umbrella of money.
Purpose.
Okay. I like this. Purpose feels pretty good to me. Purpose.
Lifestyle.
Lifestyle's not even on the board, Tom. You're fired.
Oh.
Ego.
Jeez.
Oh, okay.
No. I don't know.
Legacy.
Ego, legacy. Okay. Okay. This is perfect. This is good. So now we get into the kind of second and third tier. This is good. And each person can pull away something. I want you to start thinking about this as to why you work. Okay. Perfect. Let's go into life. Like if we didn't have to work, what would we do? Let's just say now, for some reason, you're in the Futur Pro Group and now you just learn how to make a ton of money. You don't know what to do with yourself. Just like a truck dumps all this cash on your lawn. You're like, wow, I don't have to work anymore. What should I do? So what would you do? We've covered some of these things, but let's get into it.
Travel.
Travel.
Spend time with family.
Family time, right?
I would say hobbies in general.
Somebody said they'd be in jail. Did I hear that right? Okay. So exercise, Ricky is like, I got to keep the bod going. You got to do it.
Supporting the community and philanthropy.
Community,
That's philanthropy.
Yeah.
right? Perfect. Philanthropy.
Optimize. So like hire like cleaners and stuff so that you don't have to do the tedious tasks of every day.
Cameron, you already have all the free time. You can do whatever you want. You don't need to optimize anymore.
Yeah, but you still got to do like life things, right?
No, you don't.
Like,
That's what. You know what? If I gave you $1 billion tomorrow, you know, like what I gotta do? You do it, and then you do that. And you know, I don't want to brush. I want to make so much money. I'm going to pay somebody to brush my teeth. Sometimes I'm so tired. I'm like, you brush my teeth for me. I'm going to hire a professional hygienist and just that's what the whole point of the money is for. So don't optimize anymore. You're past optimization. You're still on the previous slide. So what do we do with all this free time and all the choices? What else can we do?
Invest in others.
Family.
I heard family. What else?
Compete.
Compete.
Yeah, competition.
Who are you going to compete against?
Just I don't know. I think that one of the things that I've been doing, I just started doing jujitsu, and I don't know. There's something about it that just
Oh,
there's, like,
okay.
something primitive about it that like
I
don't
get
have to
you.
worry about anything. Just whether
All
it's
right.
and that it doesn't have to be just that, but just anything competition. Like I don't know.
Right. Hold on. Who's talking? I don't see your name.
This is Christian.
Christian. Christian is talking about something that's important to all of us. Personal development. That's what he's talking about, right? He wants to grow. Now that he has all this time, he can do whatever he wants. So he's going to work on getting his 3rd degree black belt in BJJ. He's going to win the BJJ World Tournament or something like that. These are goals. He wants to constantly grow. So part of your personal development leads you to growth. And that's really important for all of us. And I think that's why when people stop working and they don't find something else, they start dying. And I find this to be just anecdotally true, where when men retire, they have a hard time transitioning back into quote unquote civilian life because they had no hobbies. They're just busy working. And when women retire, because they've been keeping themselves busy with lots of different things, they seem like my mom has so many activities. She's like taking care of her plants. She's learning new recipes. She's like learning how to sew. She's drawing and painting. My dad just sits there and reads the newspaper. That's all he's got. So I'm worried about him. I'm really worried about him. Okay. So let's keep going here. All right. What else we got?
I would invest in people to get them to the same place as I am.
So is that philanthropy or helping others, teaching? Can I write down teaching?
Yeah,
I like teaching.
equipping.
You know how I feel about that. Okay, and then is it Gilo?
Yeah, I was about to say the same. Help others.
Okay, we'll put that in there. Help others under philanthropy, right? Help others, right? Now that you've achieved success, you can help other people. I like that a lot. And then I don't see your name, Jazz. Of course, Jazz.
Spirituality, spiritual life, religion.
Oh, right. It's perfect. I'm glad you said that, Jazz. And that could mean any way that you want to interpret that, right? All right, Tom. Last one. Add something.
Is it just me or is anybody else also thinking about real estate?
He wants to make more money. This guy.
I mean, it's not necessarily only money, right?
Yeah, you want the land too. You want your fiefdom. He wants an army. He wants a land. Okay, let's do it. He wants real estate. Spoken like a true billionaire. Real estate.
How about learning and acquiring more knowledge?
That's under personal development, but yes, I'm going to write learning here. Yes. I wish I could live 10 lifetimes because I still want to learn. I'm afraid I will not have enough time to learn everything I want to learn. Okay.
Optimize happiness.
But isn't that all of this?
Yeah, it is all of this.
Yeah.
But, sometimes people get confused and they think that money equals happiness.
That is very true, Ian. We've already said you don't have to worry about money anymore. So the only thing we can do now is do things that make you happy. So Ian, on that note, what makes you happy? Is there anything on this list that we're missing?
The small things that make you happy, but I would think you've got it covered.
Okay.
We never said time with friends.
Times with friends? Yes. Friends. Absolutely.
Your friends will be working though, so.
But you know what? If you're a really generous person, you're like, you know what? I got you this week. Come hang out with me. Maybe.
Free real estate.
There's real estate right there, man. Yeah. Anybody else? I think we're missing one. Hobbies. I like that. More hobbies. Okay.
Yeah.
We're missing one here, aren't we?
Be a leader.
Be a leader?
Yeah.
For who? Who are you going to lead? What's that?
Let the other people to the better place or the same place you are.
Oh, okay. That's under teach, isn't it? Teach and lead?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think we're missing one. Go ahead.
How about to be entertained?
To be entertained? How are you entertained?
So, I don't know, live events, sports, going to see live sports or
yes,
music. And
right. So I'm going to just write have fun. Is that okay? However that works for you. Now,
how about being famous?
You want to be famous? Okay. All right. Whatever gives you joy, it's fine. Fame. All right. This is pretty good. So if we skew all the way over here, things, we're going to lose some things on the other side, but this is pretty good. Let's keep going. The problem, as I've said earlier, with work and life balance is it feels like when we're at work, we're robbing from life. And when we're at home living our life, we're neglecting work, the thing that affords us our life. And I think this is a terrible position to be put in. So this is why Jim Rohn tells the story, when you're at work, be at work, do your work. And he tells the story of a man who's thinking about his kids and his wife. So he grabs his briefcase, shoves it in with his paperwork, and he leaves work a couple hours early. So instead of working the 8 hours, he works 5 hours. And on his drive home, he's glad to see his wife and his kids, and they're playing and they're doing stuff. They might be even watching Netflix. And he's sitting here thinking, I still have all this paperwork to do. I need to do this. So he's not actually fully there because he's sitting there, but his mind is somewhere else. Maybe you guys have done that once or twice in your life, or maybe that was just yesterday. And so we're not there. And so then he's not fully present with his wife, his family, and his children. And then they go to bed and he's back working from home. Now tired, only to repeat that entire cycle again and again and get caught up in that loop. Jim Rohn's idea, his suggestion is when you're at work, just be at work. Don't get interrupted by, I got to send my wife a picture about this or that, or talk to her about what we're having for dinner, because that doesn't allow you to perform at work. So then that deficit of not getting your work done drags on over into your personal and family life, and it goes on and on and on. And I don't like it because it says if we choose one, we take away from the other. And it being binary, that means I have to make compromise. I have to give up something in order to get something. That creates all that internal conflict. So this is why I personally don't love this concept of work-life balance. I would prefer something else. So I sat down and thought about the 3 things that I think make up work. And I have this 3-letter acronym, MFP. It's kind of like MVP. And I'll let you guess what the M stands for, everyone. What does M stand for?
Money.
Money. Thank you. We already said money, so you guys are so smart. That's why you're pro. It's the Future Pro group and not the Future Amateur group. Money. Money is M. I'll give you a guess as to what the P is.
Purpose.
You are paying attention. Thank you very much. Somebody does well on their SATs, I think. Purpose. Beautiful. Okay, this is good. And what does the F stand for? For at work?
Family.
Freedom. Fulfillment. Who said that?
Ooh.
Who said that? Arlie. You get your golden star right there, Arlie. Boom. Fulfillment. This is how I've broken it down, okay? Now, I'm not telling you I'm the boss of you, so you write down whatever you want, but I like to keep it clear. And let me tell you why. I think the main reason why we work for a period of time is to make money, to afford us the freedom, the choices, the options, the things, the house, the real estate, the optimization, the delegation, all that. That's what the money does for you. Why do I say fulfillment? Because work has to be fulfilling to you. You have to feel like you're growing, that you're learning. And sometimes when it's so fulfilling, it feels like fun. But this is all about you right now. Money for me and my family and my loved ones. Fulfillment for me personally. My kids can't feel that, but I can feel it. Purpose is about how this helps and impacts other people other than me. So when we talk about this, and I want you to think about it in your own life and your own work right now, I'll give you an example from me. You tell me how it hits you, okay? I made commercials. I made TV ads, right? I made music videos. So let me see how this maps, okay? And then I want you to start writing down how this maps for you, okay? I made TV ads and music videos for almost 25 years of my life. The majority of my adult life has been spent making things to make money. And for the most part, is how I made all of my money, practically, is by doing this. So for sure, it checks off on the money thing. And since I went to school to learn design and I fell in love with motion graphics and I got to direct commercials and music videos, I got to animate things, I got to work with some really talented people. It did give me a lot of fulfillment. Did it fill me with purpose? Did I really help others? Did I contribute to society? Was I serving others? I don't think so. I served my client, and that's why they paid me money, but that doesn't count because that's what you got paid to do. So beyond the money that's exchanged between you and someone, what did you do? Okay, so that's me for 25 years. Now, the second part of my life is when I was teaching. How did this work? So I taught for 15 years before I stopped teaching for other people and I started the school, or the Futur, okay? So let's change colors here. How did teaching contribute to all this? Well, teaching, I hardly made any money. And you've heard this before. I pay people more than I get paid. So there's something wrong with that. Does it give me fulfillment and joy? For sure. Sharing, helping other people. I feel alive. I feel electric. I feel like I'm using all of my brain. I get to tell jokes and make fun of myself. That works out well for me. And is it purposeful? Am I contributing to society? Am I being of service to other people? Heck yeah, I feel that. So these two things that I did for work combined gave me what I wanted. So I want you to just think to yourself right now, ask yourself, am I getting this from the work that I'm doing? And if not, I want you to start thinking about what kind of work should you be doing so that you can get more of this. Now, it's quite sad because one of the biggest things that we say is if you're going to work, work is to make money. That was the number one priority. So if you're working right now and you're not making money, the rest of the stuff starts falling apart. This affords this, but they have to work in unison, in harmony with each other. Okay? Anybody have any questions about this before I move on to the next slide?
It's always the dilemma where they say, you know, we all know that we're doing it for money, but it's always the dilemma of like, oh, when you're starting a business, don't worry about money, money will come. But at what point do you like, especially at the beginning when money is low?
Yeah, so when we say that, and I've heard this before and I've said it myself, that when you're first getting out of school and you just learn something, don't focus on money as the primary driver as to why you should work somewhere. Let it be about fulfillment and purpose and personal development. Because ultimately, you will be paid for what it is that you know and know how to do. There's that quote that says, if you do more than what you get paid for, eventually you'll be paid more than what you do. So this is critical. So if you go for a job that in the short term promises a lot of money, but you're not getting a lot of fulfillment in terms of personal growth and adding skill sets and filling in the gaps of knowledge, then you're only taking a short-term win and you're going to pay for it in a long-term loss. I think that's what they're saying. Each one of us has a different timetable and has different criteria as to what we would consider fulfillment. And you need to think about that. Okay? Now we know this. You could sell mattresses and feel like it's a dead-end job. And then one day you're the mattress king. You could do that. And this happens, you know, and there are people who have been able to figure out their station in life and really scale up really fast. Now, if you told me the key to having a multi-billion-dollar global brand was to make a pretty good cup of coffee, I'd laugh at you. It didn't stop Howard Schultz from doing that. So each person has their own criteria, and do not let someone else tell you this is the plan. That might be a plan for them. It might be a plan for a different time, place, and era, but you have to have your own plan. All right. So let's talk about life, the three components of life. What is this all about? I'm going to help you because I'm struggling myself to remember what. No, I know. I know. I know what it is. I'm just messing around. I'm getting senile in my old age. Okay. The PSS, life, the three parts that I can think of. And this was a struggle. So if you find a different way of labeling this, it's totally okay. Just get in along with the concept. The first P of life is people. The second letter S is for self. And the third one is spirit. And I'll talk about what these mean to me, and then we can expand on it for what it might mean to you. So when it comes to people, this is, everybody that you care about. Could be your spouse, parents. For some people can't stand their parents. That's okay. Your children. And if you don't have children, that's okay too, because some of you have pets. There's no judgment here. And then you have friends and colleagues, and you have community. These are all the relationships that you have, and even strangers, because we want to meet new people. Siblings, extended family, all those people. So I'm just going to put everybody else under this big, giant umbrella term of family. And family does not have to be blood relation. Just anybody you define as family. Okay, the self, this is really important. And once you make the money and you have some free time, we talked about personal development. So self is body. It's important to Ricky. Mind, your body and your mind. What do you do to take care of yourself? Whether that's a massage. For some of you, it's a mental massage. You want to read a book, or you want to go to a lecture, spend your free time listening to some idiot on a whiteboard. You could spend your time however you want, but you want to work on self. Many of us neglect self, and self could just be sleeping, being able to get a good night's sleep in so that you feel renewed and refreshed when you wake up. Sit back in a meditative state, Ivy. Okay. Spirit. This could be religious, but let's just say, so that this doesn't get about religion or faith, it's like, how do you feel? Are you in good spirits or are you in bad spirits? And the things that give you joy. For a lot of you, it would be faith. For someone else, it might be to go on adventures, to have like boys' night out, girls' night out, whatever it is, to lift your spirits. It doesn't have to be just about faith, but it's about what kind of word should we use to describe that? Joie de vivre? Yeah, something like that. Whatever fills you with joy. And we need to do more of what gives us joy and less of what doesn't. So we'll call this part, I didn't do it on the other one, but we're going to call all of this life. So, I'm trying to stay within the theme of work-life balance. So your life consists of the people you know, the relationships you build, how strong they are, how you show up for them, how they show up for you. The strength of those bonds determines, I think, a big part of your happiness. And if you just do that all the time, though, and you don't take care of the self, you're going to find out that you ultimately start to resent these people and you only have so much to give because you'll start to burn out. So we have to make sure that these are in harmony. And then there's something beyond our body and our mind, whatever else, and each person's going to have their own little thing that fills you with joy. For me, it's reading comics. It's spending time with my son. Sometimes it's going for a walk or a hike. I love to be on the water, even though I'm not a good swimmer. That's why I love to be on the water, not in the water. So whatever gives you joy. Okay. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what happens in the old model when we try to find this balance and we can't seem to get the balance. When we focus too much on work, we lose a part of our life in the old model. When we focus too much on life, we lose out on work. So let's talk a little bit about the trade-offs. Let's just say, because I think many of you are in this boat, probably almost everybody that's watching this video, is you're spending too much on work. We're spending too much time here. We have to get that back in balance. But let's just talk about the trade-offs. What happens when you disproportionately spend your time on work? There's a label they call you. They call you a workaholic. They also sometimes call you perfectionist. Sometimes they call you anal retentive or a micromanager. You can't let things go. Everything matters to you all the time. So what happens? What happens to our life? What's the consequence when we focus too much on work and we're starting to lose a bit of the life? Burnout. Perfect. Thank you, Ricky. Okay, what else?
Relationships suffer.
Yeah, I'll just say divorce. Okay, Paul?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go right for it.
I would think even children, relationship with your children.
Absolutely. So we'll call that absentee parenting.
Mentally stressed.
Stressed.
Health.
Your health, yeah. Poor health. Absolutely. That's why Ricky's always in the gym. Health. And he wants to get his beauty rest. It's how the young stay young. Okay, what else? So we're neglecting our life. What happens when we neglect our life?
I think joy, peace.
Okay, joy and peace. I think we lose touch with our friends. And what happens is they say we are growing distant. You can even talk about like poor hygiene because of that. We're not even talking about getting ripped or anything. You're just starting to fall apart. Mm-hmm. And you're going to age prematurely. Age quickly.
I also think you get regrets, and because you can't turn the clock back.
Yeah, on your deathbed, you're going to have a lot of regrets that you didn't do more of what gave you joy. It's a good list. Let's flip it. Let's go to the other side now, okay? So when you focus all on life and you start calling in sick, you actually just quit because you don't like it. It's too stressful at work, right? It's just too much for me. What happens to you then? What are the trade-offs here on this side? When you focus too much on life and you're neglecting your responsibilities at work. I know people like this, by the way.
You become financially stressed?
Yeah. So let's go all the way to the extreme. You're going to go bankrupt. Okay. You may be seen as a pariah in your society because you're creating stress for your family and you're supposed to be out there making money. Your kids may feel ashamed that they have a deadbeat parent. What else happens?
You'll feel useless.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a point where you feel like you have no purpose.
Yes. No purpose. Oh, yeah. Some people get bored.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good one. Bored.
Lack of feeling of accomplishment.
What's that? What's that word? Like, what's the word? There's a word for this. Unaccomplished. There we go. What is the word that sounds like a lack of unaccomplished? Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. Ricky with the big L word. You're a loser. You might feel like that. Okay. Arlie?
But children disrespect parents who do not achieve anything, who cannot provide.
Okay, that's good. So ashamed and disrespected. You know, I know people who grew up poor, whose parents didn't seem to have much motivation, ambition, and drive, and they were ashamed. They were embarrassed. They really were. It's like, why are we always like eating in the cheap restaurant and we never go out? My friends are talking about the new BMX bicycle they got for whatever. You know, you guys, I'm looking at you and your faces right now. I know you know what I'm talking about. You're like, damn it. You know, this is like the David Chappelle joke. He's like, you know, people think I grew up poor. I didn't. My parents did all right. They did all right to move us into neighborhoods that were white so I could feel poor. They did just well enough for me to feel poor in other neighborhoods. And so, yeah, sometimes, you know, that can impact the psyche of your children. What else? You know what? You might be like, you know what? Let's just call it. Maybe some of you are just like, I don't have a job. I'm going to live at home. Freeloader. You're going to be a freeloader. The 40-year-old virgin right there, freeloader.
Also not a good role model. I know people who made a lot of money and stopped working early, but they weren't setting the right example for their kids. And they eventually went back to work just to kind of reinforce what it means to work for their kids.
Absolutely.
I think in time you could lose empathy. You can kind of become this ivory tower mindset.
Yeah. Lose empathy. Okay.
And also there's no future.
Okay.
Will miss work opportunities.
Yeah. I think when you're not working, you're going to miss work opportunities. That's for sure. No, lack of opportunities. Okay. That's pretty good. Have we missed one?
Disorganized. Stay in bed too long.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Unmotivated, lethargic, disorganized.
Confidence. You lose your confidence.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's a good one. Oh, yeah. Depression is a big one. Okay. I think that's good enough. We got the big ones in there. Came in strong at the end.
Do you think divorce could also be part of that? Because there's no money. There's always the money issue.
You know what, Arlie? You speak like a knowledgeable, well-educated woman. Yeah. I just imagine what my wife how she would look at me like, aren't you supposed to bring home the bacon? I'm like, what bacon? I'm going to just take a 10-year vacation. She's like, you know what? We're done. Divorce.
Lack of self-worth.
Self-worth, self-esteem, self-reliance, all those words that begin with self. Look at that. All those words that begin with self. Look at that. Hey, maybe I knew something. Maybe I thought about this for a minute. Just a minute, though. Okay, pretty good. Those are the trade-offs. I think the solution is instead of looking at it as either or, and that's the way we've been looking at this, you either have this or you have that. That expression, you can have your cake, but you can't eat it. So it's either this or that. But really, I think what it is we need to kind of find that sweet spot between A and B. That becomes ABBA. So there we are. We're trying to look for the overlap. And so we're almost there, everyone. So the way that we achieve the overlap is instead of looking at this like balancing and trade-offs and compromise and conflict, we try to find something from one side and we throw it to the other side, and we're going to try to blend these two things together. So is there a way that we can make money while building stronger relationships? I don't know. I'm just going to ask that question right now. Is there things that we can do for personal self-development that actually pay us money? You see how this goes? So you're going to start to ask yourself these questions. How do we blur the lines? How do we blend this together to make some kind of a hybrid thing? Because we don't want to choose anymore. We want to have all of it. We want to have our cake and eat it. That's the point of cake. Okay, so let's write in blue here. I want you to think about all the things that you currently do right now that you would put in the work category. So those of you that are in the pro group, you have this. You can start filling this thing out. Those of you that are going to be watching this video later, if you want this worksheet, I will send this to you. All you have to do is send me some money on Venmo. I don't care what the amount is. Send whatever you think this workshop or this discussion has been worth to you, and I will send you the PDF. All you have to do is make the comment about work-life balance worksheet, and I will send this to you, okay? Obviously, anybody can recreate this. It's not about that, but it's just a token of my appreciation to you. So everybody, you have the worksheet. I want you to start working on this, and while you do that, I'm going to start writing in what I think Okay. And if you were to get finished with this list, I want you to go over here and talk about life. Like, what do you consider that you want to do in your life? What's important to you under this category? The relationships that you have, what taking care of yourself means in body and mind, and what gives you joy, fills you with positive vibes, the spirit. It could be your faith. It could just be playing music, whatever it is that makes your soul filled with joy, you write that thing down. And then we'll figure out the magic in the middle. And hopefully then we'll achieve something beyond work-life balance. We're going to achieve work-life integration. That's the concept that I believe in. Okay, so why don't we do this? You all work, I will work, and we'll check in from time to time, okay? Okay, so for money, like I said before, I used to make videos. I taught for a living, so I was teaching. I did design. So videos, teaching, design. What did I do for money? I would lecture. I was consulting. I was doing sales, marketing, and I did branding. I made money as being an entrepreneur. Okay. Let's talk about now what I do that feels, I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good father. What else do I do for fun? I'm like stuck now. You know what? Actually, I like to travel too, just like everybody. Yeah, you're right, Ricky. Thanks for reminding me. I like to read and learn. Hey, man, you know my life better than I do. What the heck is going on here? I like to create things. What's that, Jonah? What did you say? Yeah, it's over here, but you're right. I actually get a lot of fulfillment from teaching. It gives me great joy. So I almost didn't want to write that because it seems like too obvious where this one's going. Like there's a magic big oven off the set and I just pull out and it's a magic dish. Yeah, here's the cake, here's the meatloaf, it's perfect. Here's the risotto. I've been slaving on this all day and here it is. I know you guys are going to doubt me. I actually do like to exercise. I like the outdoors, like backpacking. You're like, not judging by that body you're rocking right now there, buddy. Okay. Just remember, I'm 50 years old. Things slow down. I like building community. I like being around people. So, which fits under all that stuff. So relationships, these things are important to me. You know what? My wife's going to look at this. She's going to laugh. She's like, no, you never do anything. Let me just erase this. I'm naturally not a relationship person. It's really weird because I keep in touch with nobody. I want to be of service to other people. Is that okay? That gives me joy. I want to help others, as many other people here had said also. Yeah, so we're working towards work-life integration. It's integration. All right, pro people, how are we doing? Doing pretty good?
Doing pretty good.
Ready to proceed?
I think that might be Christo.
Well, let's see if we can't get you there, Paul. We'll get you to the land of milk and honey. Okay.
A lot of similarities.
Yes. And, it's kind of like maybe this set of exercises or these prompts are different than our Ikigai one, and maybe it'll help someone to unlock something in their mind. So here's the big question. What if work could be more like life? And what if life could be more like work? And we want to approach it from both sides. This is why the arrows go this way. So I'm going to just try, okay? A win would be when we can overlap. So I want to do this thing right here. We want to overlap. The bigger the overlap, the more joy we're going to have. So it could be a little one, or it could be something like this. We're looking for overlap. So if I make videos, I used to make TV commercials, and if I can make an ad and it called for casting young children, and my boys are like, Dad, we want to be on TV. Great. Then you're going to go to work with me. You're going to make money. You're going to get experience. And I'm going to use whatever I do in work, and I'm going to blur the lines together. What if I love to travel and I make a logo for everywhere that I travel, but somehow I can find a way to get paid for that? We're going to just try. We're going to try. What if being outdoors and exercising, I can consult or I can do a lecture? Oh, wait a minute. What if I decided to book like a spot at Joshua Tree and invited a bunch of my pro family, and we did a workshop there, and that they wanted to pay for it? I get to travel, be outdoors. I get to teach and be of service to other people while making money. That's what we're looking for. As many of these things possible to overlap, That's the game. You win. Okay, so we'll get into concrete examples, but first I just wanted to say that. So for those of you playing along at home, if you can take as many ingredients from over here and mash it up with as many ingredients over there and bring them together, that's telling you move in that direction, because that's going to give you joy, and we're going to blend them together. We're going to create this fusion between these different things. Now I know Jonah is an aspiring designer. He's posting a lot of typography on his Instagram. So giving him joy right now would be on design. He's not making any money on that just yet. But if he finds a way to, say, launch a streetwear company that he can then push that out into the universe, those things are in alignment. And that's what we're looking for. Everybody understand that, right? And then we'll get into concrete examples of how one might do this. In theory. I don't know where this is going, Ricky. Like, let's keep them guessing a little bit. We have no idea. I'm going to pause here. I'm opening it up to our pro group. Is it starting to make some sense for you? If it is, what I'd like for you to do is, don't raise your hand just yet. I want to hear what one of your overlaps is that you are either doing currently or makes so much sense that you can do really soon. I'd like to hear from you, so I'm going to give it a couple of seconds. I see that Paul's his hand's up already. Just give me 2 seconds here. So I'm going to call this work-life integration, and we're looking. You know what this is? The perfect version of this is, I said that there's almost no difference between this, and the crossover is great because that then makes a beautiful, guess what? The letter O. We're looking for overlap. Somebody later is going to watch this. What does verlap mean? I don't know what verlap means. Overlap, people. Overlap. Okay, we have a couple of hands up. Okay, so Paul, what's one of your ideas?
Well, for me, the whole thing overlaps except for one thing, which is actually design execution. I can live without that. But, teaching for me, I've been paid to teach, and I enjoy, if I had more than enough time, I'd continue doing that.
Yes. Okay, so your number one thing would be to teach, right? It happens to be my thing too, so I'm going to write it here, to teach. Okay? Because teach is how we make money. Teach is also what gives us great joy. So it has double purpose there. And so then let's integrate teaching, because it gives us joy and it makes us money. What are we going to teach, Paul?
Well, for me, it would be helping people get unstuck, on ways to get themselves unstuck, whether...
So mindset?
Mindset, spiritually, and in their business.
Okay. Is this something you currently do now?
It's what I'm headed towards, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. So I'll write my answer up here, and then you write your answer, okay? My answer would be, okay, you know what? Look at this. I'm going to teach. Look at that. They both line up here and here, okay? One says teach and one says teaching. You know what I teach? I teach everything on this thing here, except for, not everything. I teach people how to do sales and marketing. And I'll show you the bonus here in a second. I do talk about branding and entrepreneurship. What a coincidence how we got here. This is not even premeditated. I teach about sales and marketing, branding, entrepreneurship. And here's the super mega bonus point one. I used to make videos for a living. So when I'm teaching, it makes me money, gives me joy on things that I already know about. And I use the skill set of video making. Look at that. That in Mortal Kombat is a death strike. Combo, deadly combo, chain combo. What do they call that? Whatever. All right, we're done with the video game metaphors. We stopped right there, right? And lecturing, consulting. Look at that. It all seems to do that. So, of course, Paul feels really connected to my list because my list is his list. He just needs to find a business model to be able to do this. Then he's in the money circle, and Bob's your uncle. Work integration, magic. And look what else happens here. If my family gets involved, like my family, my children, they participate in this, I get another 2 times X bonus kill point. Look at that. Wait a minute. In order to be a better teacher, I have to be a better student. So I get to learn and read. Oh my God, another 2 points. 2X. That's why I find such great fulfillment doing what it is that I do. Some people would accuse me, Chris, you work too much. I'm like, what? Work? I do work, but it's not really work for me because this is what I love to do. That's it. Okay. This is beautiful. So you can see, actually, with the exception of a few things like that Paul mentioned already, there's a ton of overlap here too, because sometimes I'm flown, I get to travel somewhere, and I'm able to bring my son with me because I just pay for his ticket. He flies coach, of course, and he gets to sleep in my bed, so the room is free. And oftentimes I just ask them, can I get an extra pass for my son, or something? Most hotels are very cool about that. So he's been to more places at 15 years old than I was probably by the time I was 25. He's seen more of the world because I didn't travel at all. Because when we go back to this page here, where are you? You remember this one right here? The first 5 years of my business life, I did not do much living. I just worked. No vacation, no holiday, no nothing. That's all I did. And so consequently, I was probably the heaviest I was in my life at that point in time. And I couldn't see anything else but work. And I started to aggravate my wife. She supported me. She did work in the company for a period of years. But after she retired, she was like, what are we doing? Like, are we two roommates, or is there more to this than you just working all the time? And to some degree, I felt at that point in time it was necessary because I was just establishing our business. But the consequences of it are very clear. We got into fights. She was on edge. I was on edge. I was like, why don't you like just relax, because I'm working and I need to work. And luckily we got through that rough patch and we made it through. And 25 years later, we're still here. Okay. So let's get back to the list. All right. The list. Try to overlap all of these things. So I get to create, I get to travel. My children sometimes help me, not as much as I'd like, but they get to travel with me. And it's some of the best adventures we've ever been on in our lives. And it was in one very particular, very memorable trip. We went to Cebu, and my son got to stay on an island. I've never been on a private island before. We got to swim with the whale sharks. Pretty gross. The reason why is because they dump, I don't know, kind of shrimp or something in the water. They do something in the water, krill. And so the whale sharks come up, and we're swimming, we're eating that thing too. It's pretty nasty. Yeah, side story, my son had a stomachache afterwards because he inhaled so much salt water just swimming with them, because we're like, they're enormous when you're like there, and luckily they're vegetarian, or not a vegetarian, they just don't eat people. So, and we also got to fly in a helicopter, but in Manila, I'm sorry, in Cebu, I got him to come on stage and do a part of my talk. And I have to say, for as long as I'll live, I remember the courage that little dude had to sum up in the back room, and I had to look him in the eyes like, you can get out of this, I'm gonna let you out. You don't have to do this. He goes, Dad, I can do it. I can do it. I said, okay, I want you to just run up there, step on the stage, and do your best impersonation of me, and the audience will forgive you for everything you say, right and wrong. It'll be totally okay. I thought that little guy was going to back out, but he didn't. He ran up there and he did it. And he was beaming with pride, and I was beaming with pride, and we helped each other out. We've gone on a lot of misadventures. And I feel like that time when he was 13 to 15 years old, our two lives were just totally overlapping. You know, he'd help me out. I'd help him out. He brought his laptop, and he would make sure, Dad, you need to be here. Here's your stuff, and I'll take notes for you, and trying to be my little assistant. And I'm going to cherish that moment and our time together forever. So that's me doing fun stuff with my kids, traveling. My wife wasn't there, but we got to read and learn together, and I got paid to consult or lecture or teach or something like that. And I'd love for anybody here who has children to be able to start thinking about, how do I bring my family involved in all this? Not just as an accessory, but an integral part. The word integration is really important. My son, my oldest son, Otto, he's like, Dad, I want to do a Clubhouse call with you. Fantastic. I was a little nervous. You know how children are. They have a mind of their own, and they kind of sometimes betray you on the spot. And I was like, ugh. It's one of the most nervous times I've ever been. And also because as a dad, I wanted to protect him. So if someone asked him a really hard question, how do I get him out of this? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of challenges there, but I love that kind of stuff. We currently don't make content together that makes any money, but anytime the kids want to step into this, I'm just super thrilled. And I remember, because I get paid to teach, and there are sponsors of artistic tools, and both my children are very artistic. I was like, if you use the tools, I'll take a picture of that, and the sponsors will pay us for that. So that's, again, work-life integration. I'll give you one other story that don't involve my kids. So I'm traveling. I love the outdoors. I love fishing. So I'm at this fishing lodge called Ole's. It's off the central west coast of Canada. And I'm there as a patron, as a customer, but I get to know the owners and the operating manager, and we build a relationship, and I wind up doing their sales and marketing. So watch what happens again, right? Sales and marketing for them, and I get paid. This is good. And some of the money, instead of paying me cash, they give me in trips. So I have a backlog of comps, like trips that I can gift to people. I can use them myself. And you know what I was able to do? I got to bring on multiple trips my dad and 3 of my uncles who had never gone on a trip like that before, because it's kind of expensive and I just can't see how they would ever do that. And my dad and 3 of my uncles and 5 people, we got to go on, I think for them at least, a trip of a lifetime, the 3 old men. And all my cousins were so happy for their parents, but also somewhat jealous that they weren't able to do this. I got to go with my friends, people who work here. And that is integration of those relationships to people. And I got to share that experience with them, the people I care a lot about. We did create some content out there. Hasn't seen light of day. So that one's -1. I thought you said it's in the dry box, using a fishing term there. I was going to say, good one, Ricky. Okay. So that's another way that we can do this, right? And not today, but soon, you're going to see my hobbies and exercise, fitness, and fashion. I'm going to find a way to make money on that too. I'm going to do one more just for fun, because it seems like it's all coming together, right? Like magic. Let's talk about service to help others. You are all here because you're a part of the Future Pro Group. So the Pro Group is how I build community, how I maintain relationships. It's also how we make money. I record videos. I'm teaching things about sales and marketing, branding, and entrepreneurship. And we get to connect in real life. And when we have a meetup, we get to do fun things like exercise together. Fun for some, torture for others. And when we're out here, we get to create content together. So look at the multipliers again. It's pretty wonderful when these things start to line up. Okay? And I want to say one thing after I outline this part. So we do meetups, and we can create content, and I get to help people, and we get to be outdoors. Isn't that amazing? Get to do all this stuff. At some point, I would love to be able to go to some place that's exotic. Maybe Thailand. I don't know. I have yet to return to Vietnam, so I'd love to go to Vietnam and meet a bunch of you out there. In order to do that, y'all need to make more money so that this doesn't become a problem, that travel's part of your life. All of that is multiplying on top of itself. You know what's really cool is that this creates some kind of really interesting loop, if you think about it. So you all in the Future Pro community, we all make content together. And then the content becomes sales and marketing for more people to join. You see the loop there? It's pretty awesome. So those of you that want something like this, because obviously you're here for a reason. If you want to do this around, say with Kia, who wants to do this around cooking, or Ivy, who's still here, who wants us to do this around teaching creative people how to do sales, you want to learn how to build a business model around this. So all the breadcrumbs on how to get here are laid out clearly within this community. And if not, all you have to do is poke me, and then I will just tell you. It's that straightforward. Okay. I can see you guys are stunned. So rather than us continue this conversation about work-life balance, we should be talking about work-life integration. And that's how we achieve the harmony and the ultimate balance. And it's not this binary thing where we have to choose one and sacrifice another. These are not things that are in opposition. And this is not a man bag. This is the weight from before. Except for now, we've melted those two parts, two things between work and life. We've melted them together. We've merged them to create this kind of cool fake digital camouflage pattern. The pieces of the puzzle, that's the things that you're looking for. And you say, how does this puzzle piece match up with the other one? How do I start to bring these two things together? And that's the magic. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions?
I love the model of the integration, but sometimes they say it's not a good idea to integrate. Like I actually had not the most pleasant experience once trying to bring my son into a work project, and I kind of ran into some of the issues that I think you implied here. There's a challenging authority type of thing, and then it kind of backfired, and then I ended up having to save him, from a relationship. But also, sometimes they say it's not a great idea to mix hobbies and business. What are your thoughts on when you should have boundaries? Like, I think the idea of integration is great, but sometimes it should be fluid, and you want to separate work from life things because it takes the fun out of it.
Yeah. I don't know if for me, there's a lot of fun in it, but there's rough executions that we shouldn't judge the idea based on the execution, that the idea is good. We just have to find better expressions of the idea. And I feel you, because I've brought my kids before to London and to, what is it called? Birmingham. And we were out there for a festival, but the kids weren't well traveled enough. I was so busy doing my talk and preparing for it that we did not have a lot of time. Meaning, like, they wanted me to say, Dad, we're going to go here. I'm going to take you there and we're going to experience these things. But I'm the kind of dad who's like, you know what? You're on your own, kid. Y'all figure out what you need to do. And you tell me where we need dinner. You tell me where you want to go. And they defaulted to what they normally do, which is to play video games all day. So they sat in the hotel. And so that was one of those ones where the execution was flawed, but the idea and the opportunity was good. We did get to go to see something that they may never return to that city ever again. Right? And there are, I think, some gems still in the misadventures. And I want to talk about that. I want to be really transparent about the challenges. What Ian brings up is very much true. So let me tell you the misadventure. So we're in London. I had quite literally stayed up all night the night before. I ran a 6 or 7 hour workshop, so I was running on fumes. And that night when we went back to the hotel, we had a flight out the next day at a reasonable time. I told the boys, I'm super tired, guys. I want you to plan on how we're going to get to the airport. You know the information. I want you to plan it out. My oldest, he's super responsible. He's like, yeah, Dad, I got this. And so I went to sleep, and while they were out playing video games, I could hear them as I was coming in and out of consciousness. I'm a very light sleeper, but on this particular occasion, I was dead tired, and I was coming down with something too. And then I wake up the next morning. Both of them are still in bed because I told them, wake me up. Otherwise, we're going to miss our flight. And I wake up, I try to do my thing, shower, shave, get ready, pack my bags. They're still unconscious. And I'm getting a little nervous. Like, I wake them up. I'm like, boys, hey, let's go. You guys aren't ready. Like, why didn't you wake me up? They're like, oh, no, it'll be fine, Dad. We'll just take an Uber. And I said, no, you know what? We're not going to take an Uber because I don't need any planning to take an Uber. I could just call an Uber myself. And they're like, okay, so we'll need to take the train, right? And they didn't know what train to take, so they did zero preparation. So now we're under the wire. We're rushing out of the hotel. I'm asking the person at the front desk where we should go. He directs us. We get on the train. It goes the wrong direction. We get off that train, go in a different direction, and it's total pandemonium and chaos. We eventually make it to the airport in time, but as soon as we get up to the gate, they're like, you know what? It's too late. We're not going to let you in. They're already closing the gate. It's too late. And my oldest, all of a sudden you can see in his face and his eyes, the blood was just draining out of his face because he knew we had missed our flight home. And they were all ready to go home. And so he was just like, oh, Dad, I'm so sorry. I'm like, just relax. Let me figure this thing out. Now, luckily, there was a gentleman who's working on a different counter where we went to talk to. He goes, let me take care of you. He starts rearranging a couple things. He says, "Why'd you miss this flight?" And I was about to say something, and he just filled in the answer for me. "That's why you missed this flight, so we don't have to charge you." And he really took care of it. So I saw some English hospitality in that moment. And in the meantime, while he was still working on this, I called my wife, and she goes, "I can't believe you guys. You missed the flight. Why didn't you do this?" She was like just crazy on me. I'm like, you know what? It'll be okay. I'm not stressed out. My kids are stressed out, and I wanted them to feel that, Ian. I wanted them to feel stressed out. But in my mind, you know what I knew? Which is what we've talked about before, Paul. I knew we had money and we had time. Is it the worst thing in the world where you get back in a cab, check in another hotel, stay another night in London? Not a big deal for me. Not a big deal, because I didn't have anywhere else to be, and I had the money. So I just told my boys, don't worry about it. We'll be okay. Luckily, we got in. We had 4 hours to kill, but we're on a plane ride home. And those are the misadventures. And again, I don't think in my mind that's what I wanted to happen, but I embrace it. That's just part of life, and I'm okay with that. But that only comes because we have the flexibility. If I had a client meeting the next day, if I was really tight on money, if I could not miss this flight, that would have been a total disaster. I have many more stories like that about the misadventures, but I still, even though they didn't turn out perfect or even well, I'd still not trade them for the world. Because I even had the opportunity to mess up. And I reflect back on my own life with my father, who worked all day long. I never once saw what he did in my life. I never once went to work with him. So there was zero work-life integration. And I know we're not talking about polarities here, but if I had to choose between a couple of screw-ups and kids saying, or not being respectful or messing up your professional life, I'd rather choose that every day of the week than to say my kids never got to see what their old man does. Or I never got to see them in their prime as like little rugrats running around. So I would not trade that.
Yeah, great. I think that makes a lot of sense. I had some good experiences as well, so I agree with you. I think.
Yeah, they're challenging for sure. So every parent out there that's trying to get their kids involved, it is really tricky. But I got to tell you, so for a long time, my youngest, ever since he was like this small, he and I have a special relationship. We're like really tight. And now he's this tall. We're still tight. And this is the best part. He's starting to see the benefit of his dad doing what he does, me. Because he's like, "Dad, I mentioned something about the work that you do." And my teacher's like, "Invite your father to come and speak." I didn't know that's what he does. And so now our worlds are starting to merge together. You just have to be patient enough to allow it to happen, and it will happen, I think. And in fact, next week, the reason why I'm really stressed out of my mind is I'm going to be flying to the East Coast, doing a talk in front of 1,300 kids at my son's senior high school class. A little stressful. Everybody's like, yeah, that's right. My main job is not to try to have my kids live my life in their bodies. It's just to show them as much as I can and let them figure out what works for them. And it's very ironic because on Clubhouse, my oldest son, Otto, when people asked him, "What do you want to do?" He goes, "I want to do something that's meaningful and impactful. I want to help as many people as I can." And they're like, "What about what your dad does?" He goes, "No, I want to teach people." Like Rodney Dangerfield, no respect. I got no respect. What I do is Mickey Mouse, but what you'll do, that's going to really impact the world. Okay, that little dude. I don't know where he gets that idea from. It's terrible. I don't want to do this design stuff. It's trivial, Dad. I'm like, okay. I think it's at this time, I must have some other slides to talk about something. Oh, these are just notes. I don't have anything else to go. I wanted to ask you guys all to think about, maybe here's my note to you. Okay? From today, what's one thing that you can take away from this? What's one thing? What's one takeaway?
Integration.
I think look for the overlap.
Look for the overlap. Okay, one at a time now. Beautiful. Look for the overlap. Okay, perfect. Who's next?
This isn't static, and that you have to continuously reassess to keep things in balance.
Okay, so I'll write reassess. Hopefully I can spell that word. I think the thing is, instead of saying reassess, just be really fluid. So 2 S's at the end. Okay, so to be fluid and not to be so concrete, to be not binary. Okay, let's keep going. Somebody can correct me later. Internets will tell me. Somebody else, one takeaway, one thing that you took away from this.
I think also sometimes finding the next step is obvious when you list like that and you see an obvious calling or an obvious connection when you list it like that. I think that was brilliant.
How do we say that in a word?
Relationships or connections.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So connect the dots, okay? Perfect. Thank you. That worked.
I also think being internally driven versus externally driven.
Yes.
Meaning, question, what is valuable.
Yep.
Self-awareness.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay.
Be open to change.
Be open.
Yeah. Meaning, at different points of your life cycle, different things matter. Meaning, like when you're younger and you may have to invest more time in growth, your career, or money may mean more to you.
You said be open to change, but there's a different word for change because change can be scary to people. I just say be open to opportunity.
Yeah, that's better.
And the opportunity is inside the change, right? Mm-hmm. It's inside there, but that's what we're looking for. Okay. That's excellent. I think that's it. So one thing I want to share with you that, because I was reading about this. Errol Garrison was so kind to share some thoughts on this topic before. So let me try this. So usually we kind of look at it like this. We have work life, right? So we are going to say work, and then we have life. If I had to boil work down, I would say you gotta make money, and there's got to be some purpose. You got to help people too. It can't just be all about taking care of yourself. And then it's about people and doing more of what gives you joy. And if we look at it in a kind of binary way, we have equal amounts of time to dedicate towards these things. So I'm going to give a lot of my time to money, and sometimes at the cost of people. I may find some purpose, and I have to sometimes sacrifice what gives me joy. And so that's how we divide up our time when we look at it as work-life balance. But let me do a different way. We're still going to draw circles, but if we look at it like it's fluid, it's not in opposition, that we can draw a very different diagram. So we say, you know what, I need to make money because money affords me all kinds of freedom and autonomy and the ability to choose what it is that I want to do. That's the whole point of money. Like, if I don't feel like working today and I want to go for a run, I'm going to go for a run and I'll be all right. And so what we do is we say, the circle around money is this big. So it hits a lot of other things. It hits the people in our lives, the relationships that we're trying to build and maintain and to strengthen. And it gives us purpose because we're helping people, and helping people gives us joy. And if what gives us joy allows us to make money, it starts to overlap. But here's the really cool part. We can also look at it from, well, what gives me joy that brings people into my life, that brings money into my life? Maybe that circle looks like this. And then we get into the people, and I'll make that red. And maybe our relationships aren't something that we can cash in on too much, but it could look like this. So there's some overlap. So you're getting a little bit of that sliver of that quadrant in there. And then I have one last color here I can use. And purpose. Hopefully the purpose is the thing that brings us all together. So it's going to be just as big. And so all this wonderful overlap, this delicious overlap where we get all of it, is somewhere in here. This is the quadrant that we get everything right here. It's contained in the red. That is where you will find work-life integration. And I hope that you get there. And the thing I wanted to say earlier was that keep in mind, I'm almost 50 years old. I didn't begin this journey until I was 42. Not because I'm a late bloomer, because I'm dumb, but sometimes you have to live enough life to see different things, to be able to know who you are, to have the skills that you need in order to be able to be in a position where you can even see something like this. So I don't want anyone to watch this video if you're 19 or 20 years old or 16 or however old you are and say, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed by this. This is making me feeling depressed. Like I'm not there yet. Well, if you're 20 years old, you have at least 22 years if you're using my own benchmark here to get there. You have an additional 22 years to sort this stuff out. But good news, Now that you've seen it, the roadmap is there. The blueprint and the breadcrumbs are all there for you. You may not take as long as I took. You may just be able to shorten it by a few years. And what I wouldn't do to have a couple extra years to do what it is I intend to do. The thing that I read was this, is that the critical part that all of you need to do is to take action. Because without action, without taking actual steps, nothing will happen. This will just be a lecture. It'll just be an idea that tickles your brain for a few minutes, and then it's gone. You must take action. For all things to work, you have to take action. And when you take action, you're going to reflect on the experience. This is critical. So it's not enough just to do something, but after you've done it, you need to think about what you've done, and so that you can come up with a new thought to take more action. And this just keeps going on and on, okay? First, take action. That's the most critical thing. If you have an idea today, I want you to try it. It could be a small one, it could be a big one, whatever it is, just try it and do it. Have the experience of it, and then look back on that experience and think about, what did I do right? What could I do better? What would I change? And then take more action and just keep going. Having said that, I want to thank all of you, Fine Pro people, for Jonah and for Ricky. Quick announcement, kind of sad departure for us. Ricky's moving on to greener pastures, as they say. He was not led to slaughter, but he is moving on. So this may be the last time we hear the comedy stylings of Ricky. Ricky, you want to come up on stage here and say goodbye to everybody? Come on up, Ricky. 6 feet apart, but come on up. So there's Ricky.
Hi, everyone. It's been great to be here and learn from this guy every day for over 3 years. And I hope to keep working with Chris in some capacity. And it's just been really great to get to know some of you and to hopefully teach some of the lessons that Chris has given me to cut for you guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed them. And I just want to say thank you and keep supporting the Futur, because I really do believe in this mission, and it's really something that means a lot to me.
Thank you, Ricky. Yay. We'll pipe in the fake applause. Yeah. A little boo and a jeer. Ricky, on the note of you continue to work with us, as soon as you leave these doors, you're dead to me. Just want to be clear about that. So thank you. Thank you all for hanging out with us. I know for some of you, especially in Europe, it's really, really late. Okay. So I think that's it for us. This is my last slide. You guys know, I want to thank everybody who watches the channel, who shares and comments. I know who you are. I read all of your comments. I appreciate you. I also just am grateful for this opportunity as we run full speed ahead towards 2 million. 2 million, baby. 2 million. That's where we're going. So thank you very much. Those of you guys that want this, you can Venmo me some money, only if it gives you joy. There's no pressure for you to. And just DM me or message me the word work-life balance, and I will send you this worksheet. Obviously, you don't need it. You can just do it on your own. Okay? Thanks, everybody. I will see you guys next time. See you in the future. Thank you. I heard if you're taking a photo, like a portrait of yourself, you're supposed to flex your nostrils.
Flex your nostrils?
Like
expand them?
Yeah, because look at my nose. You see my nose looks nice. But then it's like...
All right, see you guys.
Tell me it's over.
It's over.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. That was brutal.
I'm going home.
What did I even say, dude? I don't even know what I said. Get me out of here.
Isn't that the shirt you wore on the last one?
No, I have two of the same because it looks good on camera. So
I see.
Yeah. Boom! Boom! Liar! What an idiot!